Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Mom Conversations. Welcome to Mom Conversations. I am Tanisha Carroll. I'm your host, your bestie, your girlfriend. And here we are discussing all things mom relationships, relationships with your children, and specifically mothers and daughters, but also children in general, of all ages and stages. And so there are so many aspects of motherhood that I want us to dig into. And I hope that you'll come along for the ride. And so I invite you to like, share, and subscribe. We are new here and we're getting the hang of things. So I appreciate your patience, but most of all, I appreciate you sharing it with someone who you think can benefit. So join us now in Mom Conversations. Hey guys, welcome to Mom Conversations. I am really in a space right now where the seasons are shifting. Of course, the seasons are shifting in the natural, but just where I feel like I'm trying to figure out what to do from day to day sometimes. I mostly work from home, do a lot of virtual activities, and I think that can be a slippery slope sometimes for me because when you're at home all the time, then the work that you have to do and then your home activities can sometimes get intermingled and the schedule gets all off. And now we're heading in the summer. So I have children who are home from school, and that's a whole nother level, right? Because why do our children want to go so much and be so many different places in the summer? And especially when they don't really go outside like we used to go outside. Do y'all remember? I mean, I understand being outside in the summer, but we had bikes and we rode from one side of the city to the other, literally. And, my mom was very strict. So we weren't allowed to go too many places when she wasn't home and like couldn't get to us. When we were kids, we didn't fully understand it. Like, why can't we go outside? And it was like, I understand it now because it's if something happens to you while you're out there, and this is before cell phones. So if something happens to you while you're out there, I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do. And so stay home until I get there and then y'all can go and ride bikes, go to your friend's house, whatever. Fine. I understand it now as a mom. Tell me, what is something, will you put in the comments, let me know, what is something that you understand now that you didn't understand before when you were a child? What do you understand as a mom that you didn't understand before as a child? Because I understand why it's like, no, don't go too far because I need to be able to get to you. It's actually one of the reasons why I changed. My kids were going to a private school, but then the private school moved. And for a while, I went there. I kept going, but it just began to get too far. And I'm like, I need to be able to get to you in about 10 minutes. I got to drive 30 minutes to get to the school. That's too far for me. And I need to be able to get to my kids if something goes left. And so I would love to hear, what you think about that. But as moms, we are very just particular, I think, about our kids. And so, nowadays the kids they wanna go places except outside. Or they want to go outside. I think today my daughter said, "Oh, can we go outside and go for a walk?" I'm like, "Well, it's raining." Like, okay, no, ma'am, we're not going for a walk in the rain today, because it's not a warm rain, it's a cold rain, and you don't have a raincoat, you just have a hoodie, and then you don't have boots, you're going to try and put on your dad's boots. And then you don't just want to walk in the rain, you want to go to the creek, which is even slipperier, more slippery. How do you say that? I was like, no, we're not doing that. And there's a lot of reasons why I was like, absolutely not. But those are some of the highlights. But it's just interesting that you want to go outside, but you want to go outside now. When the sun was shining, you didn't want to go out. It's crazy. It's wild. But anyway, like our kids, we would ride our bikes. And, my kids had bikes when they were younger, but now that they're in high school and stuff, they don't ride bikes. And we live in the South. There's not a lot of sidewalks here. We don't live in the city. So there's not a lot of sidewalks. You got to be on the road to get from place to place. And it's a lot more danger than I feel like we grew up paying attention to. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but we didn't pay as much attention to it. And we had things in place. People knew each other more. Do you think that? Do you think that people knew their neighbors more than we know our neighbors now? Everybody's so private and secretive, and I don't want to say secretive, but just private into themselves. And so I am, as we come into this season of summertime and where there's an expectation to go more places, I am trying to figure out with my children, like, okay, what is it? We can choose to do a few things, but I'm not going to be ripping and running all summer. Ripping and running. I'm not doing that. Do a little bit. But what are some things that you are doing with your kids this summer? Like, I really want to read some books with my daughter. She is 14. And so I'm hoping, we'll go to the library a few days, pick out some books. She really doesn't like to read. So I believe it's important for us to pick out a book together so that we can read together and read with each other and read to each other to improve, not only improve her reading, but improve her desire to read, hopefully. And so what I'm learning is, as a mom, it's like, it requires so much. And you think that when they get older that, oh, it's going to minimize and minimizes some things, but then it takes on new things. So now I'm like trying to prepare her because she's going to be out of my house soon. She's going to be at the very least headed to college or going into the workforce. What does that look like for you? And how do you get yourself up? Y'all, because I had to be accountable to the fact that I am enabling her in some ways. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that for you anymore. Get your hips up and do it for yourself. And this is her favorite thing. Do your children do that? Like they're shocked when you say, no, I'm not doing that for you. Are you equipping your children to live beyond your house? Are you equipping your children to live beyond you? Are you still waking your teenagers up to go to school in the morning? On some levels, that's fine, but do they know how to get up to an alarm? Do they know what the consequences are if they don't? And so I have had to find a balance, still trying to find it, the balance of teaching my children how to live without me, but also allowing them to be the age that they are and be innocent, be young, be precious and soft and not out in this harsh world. Okay. And so I am learning that. So if anyone have any tips about learning how to relinquish them but still keep them close, tell me what it is. Tell me how to do it, because I know that, again, I have a child who has finished his first year of college. And so definitely he's like, I've been doing my own thing for the last 8 months why am I coming home to listen to your rules? And it's like, well, I'm paying your bills. I'm paying your bills, but also you don't know everything. Just like I don't know everything. And so, but I know things that you don't know because I've already been where you are. You haven't been where I am. And so, when it comes to our kids, what are we teaching them? How are we helping them to survive in life? How are we equipping them to live beyond our home, beyond our rules? It's important that we do that, moms. And it's important that we do it, that we don't start doing it when they're 14 and 15. You got to start doing it when they're young. And I'll tell you, you may be like, why would I start teaching my 7 and 8-year-old how to live without me? Here's why. Because moms, we run ourselves ragged doing everything when our children need some chores. Chores help your kids to learn how to live without you. And they can start as early as 3, really 2. When you teach your child to pick up their toys, that's teaching them to clean up after themselves. And it's interesting because sometimes I see these videos of parents and they're like, I'm cleaning the child's room. And I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I understand there is a place for, your 2-year-old's only going to do so much. But there's what we call in the therapeutic setting hand over hand. It's where you, right alongside your child, your hand on top of their hand, pick this up, put this in the box. And maybe if there's 20 things on the floor, you may only have them to pick up, depending on their age, 5. You may only have them pick up 10, but they need to pick them up because they need to know that mommy is not the maid. Y'all, when I was young, my mom used to say, the maid is dead. That is so crazy. Like, why did she say that? But I understand it now. This is what we're talking about. What do we understand now that we didn't understand when we were children? I understand. She would say, because nobody is coming to clean up after you. Clean up after yourself. And so we can start them at a young age, teaching them that when I take all these toys out, I now have to put them away. And you can do it every night. It can be a part of your nighttime routine. It's something that we used to do with our kids. Okay, if we're getting a bath at 8 o'clock, at 7:30, we're gonna start picking this room up. Let's start. Let's pick these toys up. Another thing is laundry. They're not gonna work the machine, but they can. Once you wash the clothes. Now I don't know if you are washing clothes, everybody's clothes together. If you wash clothes separately, that could be dependent. But if it's all together, then it's like go in this pile and find your clothes. Pull out your clothes and put them in this basket. And then at another age, you teach them, okay, now you're not only putting the clothes in the basket, now I got to teach you how to fold. And you start with socks. Find all the matches, match your socks up. And you're not just teaching them how to survive without you. Matching, that's an educational skill. Matching is something that we do in math. Matching helps us to draw. It helps us to make distinction between what things are the same. Picking out things that are the same. That's educational. It's educational and it's helping me. Because why am I doing all this laundry when you're the one who dirtied these clothes? You can do some of this. And then by the time let me tell you something, mom, by the time they're 10, they can be separating their own clothes and at least washing, putting them into the washing machine. You might have, depending on if you have a top loader, how tall your child is, you might have to transfer it from the washer to the dryer, but they can get it out of the dryer. Go get them clothes out the dryer, pull out what's yours. I will fold them. And before we even get to that space, if I've done everything, now I folded them, hey, go put these in your drawer. You can do that. This is your basket. All of these are your clothes. I'm going to put it in your room. You take it out of the basket and put it in the drawer. Or I'm going to teach you how to put these on the hanger. You put them on the hanger, I'll hang them up in the closet. There's so many things that at a young age, we teach our children how to live without us. But the closer they get to actually living without us, the more we try to hold on to it. We're like, no, come back, come back. That's how I feel a little bit. I'm like, these kids are going to be gone. And I'm going to be chasing them down like, what you doing today? How are you? What's up? And so hopefully you are creating children that you want to be around, that you enjoy their company, that you love them, you appreciate their attitude, how they show up in the world. Because eventually they're not just going to be your children, they're going to hopefully be your friends. Because as adults, they're more friends, right? Because they don't need you the same. They want you. Hopefully they want you. That's what we're trying to get to, right? So, Mom, tell me, what's your temperature today? Let's take our temperature. What are you feeling today? How are you? How are you showing up in the world? Did all this talk about children leaving, did it make you sad? Or are you excited to be able to teach your kids something that's going to be long lasting? I hope that you're excited to teach your kids something that's going to help them be the type of person that you always wanted them to be. Good, bad. We're not perfect. We teach our kids good things. We also teach them some bad habits. It's what it is. Because we're not perfect. And so, apologize. Hey, I taught you that. I'm sorry. Let me teach you the way that I'm going to do it now. Let me teach you how I really want to show up. Being able to apologize, that's huge. It's something I really try to do with my kids. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry I taught you that, and I'm sorry that I showed that to you. That I failed you when I did that. Here is how I'm trying to make myself better so that I don't do that anymore. And I think it's helpful. Whether they believe you or not, hopefully you're being sincere. Because for me, it's more important to have the relationship than to be right. I will apologize first because it's more important that my children be in my life than that I'm right about everything. Now you can apply that to just any kind of relationship. Is it important that the person be in your life, or is it important that you be right about things? What they doing? Hello. Clock that. Because it's more important that my children be in my life forever. Because then that gets me grandchildren and great grandchildren. Hello. Okay, so I hope that you're doing well. And if you're not, let me know and I can pray for you and I can give you some resources that will hopefully improve how you're feeling. Listen, this has been a great conversation. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what are some things that you understand today as a mom that you didn't understand why your mom did those things when you were a kid. I hope you guys are going to get outside, maybe go to the library, some museums, but also, baby, rest, lay on that couch a little bit, sit down a little longer, drink some lemonade, some Arnold Palmer, any of that. All right. All right. This is Mom Conversations. I'm Tanisha Carroll, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.